watching continuing coverage of the Rally for Education on CBS 17.
Yeah, we have quite possibly the best vantage point right now. As you can see, the thousands of people coming in here have been streaming in for the last several minutes. While you're taking a look at the crowd that's formed here, I'm talking to one of the teachers who's come out here today. Tell me your name and where you're here from.
Hi, my name is Dal Resma Marks Evans, and I'm here from River.
Seeing their faces, and some of them we're the best thing they see all day.
Yeah.
Because of, you know, some of the situations these kids face at home, and I'm here because they can't be here. Like, I'm supposed to be their advocate, and that's why we're all here.
Yeah. You're very passionate about what you do.
Yeah.
That's what makes a good teacher.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for speaking and telling the truth. We certainly appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
North Carolina currently has one of you per 2,100 to 2,200. That's way, way above the national recommendation. What is that national recommendation?
One for every 250 kids.
One for every 250 kids. Now, did you come to last year's rally?
I did not, and I felt really guilty about it, which is part of the reason why I'm here today.
And it's also a very big day for you in other reasons, but you said you wanted to spend this day here for what?
For my students, even though, you know, it's my birthday and it should be all about me, in the end it's all about the kids, and I just want all 480 of my students to have a voice and to have the support that they need.
How nice is it to see all these people out here supporting you as well? The number one ask is for increased pay for counselors such as yourself. You know, what does that say to you as a counselor in a school?
It says that people recognize our value and our worth. You know, with unfortunately what happened in Charlotte yesterday and what's happening around the country, the need for mental health support is really big. And we don't get that a lot outside of the school. We have Holly Hill, but there isn't a wealth of supports out there. So it shows me that people recognize that the support needs to be at the school level as well.
In the last question I have for you, what does Red for Ed really mean to you? You see everybody out here. It's a sea of red.
Red for Ed to me means that we need to unite as one and form a common bond to advocate for our students and for the profession, because it's really coming together that we have the loudest voice. So individually it's hard to hear us all, but it's hard to ignore thousands of people in downtown Raleigh.
All right, I just want to show it real quick. All these students over here, all these friends, all have signs, you know, supporting this message out here. I think it's very important that everyone who watches this sees exactly that. But for now, I'm going to send you back to you guys at Halifax Mall.
Not just teachers, they brought their families with them. There are lots of kids here. We've talked to a lot of retirees that are here. I want to tell you the 5 things that they're asking for this time around. A 5% raise for school employees, as well as a 5% cost of living adjustment for retirees, and a $15 minimum wage for certified staff such as those cafeteria workers. They're also asking for more funding for school districts to hire psychologists and counselors. We just heard one teacher talk about that shooting that happened at UNC Charlotte yesterday and the need for more mental health counselors. They also want to restore funding to pay teachers more who have advanced degrees. We talked to Becky and Lenny, who are teachers, 5th grade teachers. One's working on her dissertation, and she says she can't even afford to pay for that. They're also looking to reinstate retirement benefits for future retirees. They're all here for a reason. Some of them actually had to pay substitutes to be here, but they say they would do it again. They'll do it every year until they start seeing some changes. Let's check in with CBS 17's Russ Bowen, who's also here at Halifax Mall. It's a very big area, though. So, Russ, what's happening where you are?
Yeah, I'm right over behind where the Wake County teachers are gathered, right here behind me. But I've also found somebody in the 2nd largest school district. Wake, of course, the largest school district in the state of North Carolina. Charlotte-Mecklenburg, the 2nd largest. What's your name?
Stephanie Misko.
So tell me a little bit about what you do, what you teach, and why you're here today.
Certainly. So I teach 10th and 12th grade English in CMS. And I'm here today because I think it's important that people know that when we make legislative decisions, we need to put the interests of our students in the forefront.
So when you talk about interest of the students, what does that mean exactly?
For me, that means making sure that there's enough staff on campus for students to get enough help when they need it, whether that be in terms of academics or their personal lives or in terms of their mental and physical health. As it is right now, we are way understaffed, and the students aren't getting the attention they need, and that's starting to come out in terms of academics and in terms of mental health for our students as well. So we need to be there for them.
Well, I do want to ask you about something that's incredibly sensitive and still very raw this morning after that horrific incident that happened at UNC Charlotte yesterday. You talked about it. You brought up the support for those who might need help in terms of mental health. So you saw it firsthand yesterday at home. So tell me a little bit more about what that was like to watch that, and did it invigorate you to come here today, even more so?
It did invigorate me further to come here today. Many of the students that we teach in Charlotte-Mecklenburg go on to school at UNC Charlotte, so I couldn't help but immediately worry and be concerned that it was a student that I knew who was hurt. That being said, you know, these things have happened in secondary and primary schools as well, and every time the question comes back to mental health, support for our students, the safety of our students, and so being here today, this just seems even more important today that we advocate that this is not a secondary issue, this is a extremely important issue on the forefront for North Carolinians right now.
And that additional staff certainly goes beyond the raises and additional funding for the classroom. Do you think that that should be higher on the level of priorities for legislators, or should it be all equal?
So that's a tough question. I think it should be relatively equal because in terms of adult support, that can come in any form for a student. So really just raising the adult to student ratio in schools, I think, would do a lot so that students feel that they have someone they can trust and turn to, whether that is a nurse, a counselor, a custodian, a bus driver, or a teacher.
So is this your first rally, or is this your second?
This is my second.
So this is your second. You saw change after you went back home. Do you think you'll see change even greater this time?
I have hope. I have hope people will show up in November to voice their opinions and continue to push for these changes. I do.
There has been some criticism from State Superintendent Mark Johnson, as well as some other folks who think you guys should have done this on a day that didn't interrupt the classroom. What are your general thoughts on that?
We have interruptions every day. We're dealing with classes of over 40 students. That's an interruption. We don't have nurses in schools. That's an interruption. So I think one day to get our voices heard loud and clear is a worthy sacrifice.
And beyond the state legislature, which of course surrounds where we are right now at Halifax Mall, it's important, of course, to you guys for all their constituents to be listening too, right? So what's your message to them?
Please remember to vote, and please remember that public education is not something to think about as an afterthought. This should be a prime issue in the ballot in November when you pick your representative.
Are you from North Carolina?
Not originally. I've been here about 9 years.
So were you recruited from out of state to work here, or no, you were already here, right, when you became a teacher?
I came here to go to school at UNC Chapel Hill, and that's what brought me here and eventually started teaching.
All right. Glad to have you. Thanks again,
you.
Stephanie. Have a safe trip back to Charlotte as well.
Thank you very much.
All right, Angela, we're going to send it back to you.
Hold on. All right, Russ, thank you so much. So we're going to wrap up our extended coverage out here, but we will continue to be at Halifax Mall. About 12:30, we're expecting speakers to take the stage in front of the podium. Governor Roy Cooper is one of those people. Again, we know that 33 school districts had to cancel class today because so many teachers called out. That includes 4 charter schools where they are expecting upwards of 20,000 people. They are still filing in. You can see the sea of red. For more coverage, just go to CBS17.com. But for now, I want to throw it back in the studio to Bill and Tanaya.
All right, thank you, Angela. And of course, the tens of thousands of teachers still making their way to Halifax Mall. We'll have much more on that live coverage from the teacher rally. And again, at noon, we will also have live reports from Charlotte about that deadly shooting that happened at UNC Charlotte.
And as promised, we return you now to The Price is Right.
Watching continuing coverage of the Rally for Education on CBS 17.
Well, I really believe that if we want to change North Carolina and change our society, we really need to invest more in our students. And as a teacher of over 7 years, I want to see that positive change go on.
Well, you saw it right there. Downtown Raleigh is red right now. Tens of thousands of teachers rallying for higher pay and more funding for schools.
We have been following teachers as they march through downtown to Halifax Mall, and that's where our team coverage begins right now with CBS 17's Angela Taylor.
Hey, Bill. Hey, Tanaya. Well, we are here. The march is officially over. You can see, though, all the educators and their supporters and their family members here. They're getting ready for that rally, which starts in about 30 minutes. We know the second speaker, the second person to take the podium, will be Governor Roy Cooper, who supports what these teachers are doing here today. You know, they're asking for a higher pay. They're asking for more staff, like mental health counselors and psychologists. They want to restore funding to pay teachers more who have an advanced degree, and of course expand Medicaid. There are 5 main reasons why they are here. Now, we did talk to organizers, that is the North Carolina Association of Educators. They tell us the crowd is about the same size as it was at last year's rally, which they say is about 20,000 people. Again, right now, they are just hanging out. In about 30 minutes is when it officially gets underway. Then about 1:30, they'll be able to meet with their regions. We'll have much more on that coming up in just a little bit. But let's check in with CBS 17's Russ Bowen, who's also here at Halifax Mall, just on a different side. Russ, what's happening where you are?
Well, it's a little clearer on this side. We moved over here so we could hear a little better and hear our interview a little bit better, to be frank. While there's a lot going on that stage just a few hundred yards ahead of me right now. Angela, you just mentioned something about counselors, so I think that's a super important topic, and we've, of course, got a counselor with us right now who's going to tell us why. So, first of all, tell me your name, tell me where you work, and tell me exactly what you do.
My name is Sarah Morales. I'm a school counselor at McDougall Middle in Chapel Hill.
So we were just talking about the need for school counselors, psychologists, school nurses. Talk to me a little bit about where that hole is within the system of not having enough.
I think right now the hole is within schools and also outside of schools. Today we're advocating not just for resources for our school systems, but also resources for our children in the state who need mental health care in school and also outside of school too.
And you're on the ground, truly, when it comes to mental health. Are a lot of things missed that parents don't see that you guys are finding?
I think kids in general and parents too need a lot of support, and we have issues all the time with insurances having co-pays that are too high, so families can't afford to get the additional support that they need, just to make sure that everybody in the family's emotional needs are taken care of.
And of course, there's special education in terms of how you guys are prepared to be counselors in schools. Talk to me a little bit about how that might be different than, say, a primary school teacher.
So counselors and social workers and school psychologists as well need graduate degrees in our field. And so we're providing academic support, we're providing social emotional support, and also career development assistance for kids in schools. Social workers, nurses, counselors, we're all there really to make sure that kids are getting not only their academic needs met, but also that they and their families have the support that they need to be the best students and the best future citizens that they can be.
And on a more personal level for you guys, I mean, when you say that you have to have a graduate degree, that's a lot of student loans for a lot of teachers, right?
Yes, it is. It's a lot of student loans, and we're lucky that right now our state still recognizes graduate degrees for professions that require them to practice, like school counselors, but it's really important, and I've seen firsthand that going back to school to get a master's degree makes a big difference for the way that teachers teach, and so the idea that a teacher would spend money out of their own pocket to pay for that degree to really be the best in their field and then not be compensated for it, that's a really sad thing that our state has come to.
And before I let you go, I have to bring up something that is still, of course, very raw and emotional for a lot of folks in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg area after that shooting at UNC Charlotte that killed 2 people, others still recovering in the hospital. Does that remind you that the need for counselors is even greater than what a lot of people realize?
Yes, so ASCA, which is our national organization, recommends 1 counselor for every 250 students. In our district, we're lucky. We have pretty close to that ratio in many schools, but other districts across the state have way more students per counselor, and when you have that many kids per counselor, you're not able to get to know each child individually. So it's really important that there be people who can look for warning signs and can intervene earlier to hopefully stop something like that from happening in the future.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. And get some water. It's hot out here. We're standing over here by a nice breeze that's actually man-made, but thank you for that incredible perspective from someone who lives it every day. We're going to go to Michael Highland now. Michael, where are you and what are you seeing?
We are at the top of the legislative building looking down on where you all are at Halifax Mall. I'm going to step out here so you can get a shot and get a good look at the crowd that's out here, the thousands of people who have come to this rally today. Most of them are spending the day outside, but for the ones who are coming inside to the legislative building, the Republicans have put up posters around the building trying to call attention to what they see as the positive steps they've taken to try to help in the classroom. They point to the raises that teachers have received over the last several years and the overall funding they've put toward education. Of course, there are people out here who are saying that they have not done enough. I talked to State Senator Ralph Hayes earlier. He's criticized what's going on here as essentially a political rally to support Democrats. The head of the NCAE, Mark Jewell, he had said one of the key outcomes of last year's rally was to break the Republican supermajority here in the legislature. Here's part of the conversation I had with Senator Hayes earlier today. They'll point out that they don't make up for that time they weren't getting raises. They're still paying out of pocket for supplies. Do you think those are issues you all need to be addressing in the next couple of years?
Well, I think we will continue to address just as we have over the last few years. I think comparative to any other groups you look at, teachers have fared very well in our budget process. We've done a very good job, as compared to the private sector. We've done a good job over the last 5 years of raising teacher salary, moving it closer to the national average from one of the lowest in the nation. And we've really made that focus, and we're looking at getting more money into supplies.
He lives in the western part of the state and said he had not heard from teachers in his district who are coming to the rally and plan to meet with him, though we do know that the teachers here have reached out to senators and representatives here to schedule meetings throughout the day to talk about some of their concerns. This comes at a key time, of course, because we're starting to get more details about the budget proposals, and over the next couple of months, we'll see the House and the Senate competing plans come together as they try to get something to the governor that he could support, potentially be done here at the end of June. Angela, we'll send it back to you.
All right, that was our Michael Hyland. Michael, thank you. Again, most of the teachers that we've talked to today say it's not about a pay increase for them. It's really just about their students and making sure they're being taken care of in the classroom. And they're asking that there be less testing, more supplies, and that they're getting a hot meal every day. I have a teacher with me here. She does special education in the Durham County School District. Your name is Adina?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me some of the problems that you face as an educator.
Where to start? I mean, as a special educator, I don't just teach the kids. I do paperwork. I have to schedule meetings. I have to do testing. It feels like sometimes I'm literally being taken advantage of as a teacher. And it's like they put so much demand on us, but then they don't compensate us, or they don't really appreciate what we do. Right. It's like sometimes, like, I'm afraid even if I'm sick, if I take a sick day, like, I feel like, you know, I'm not necessarily missing out, but I feel like I'm abandoning my responsibilities when really I should be taking care of myself.
Right. Now, were you allowed to have the day off, or did you have to pay for a substitute?
So basically, we did have to fill out a leave form. Mm-hmm. And so basically what we had to do is like take a personal day, and if we weren't going to come into the building that day, we had to let them know, or, you know, sometimes we had to like make up that time or do something else so we won't lose that day.
I'm going to grab your sign. It blew over. It's a little windy out here, but show me. I thought it was interesting. You said teachers need to be paid more. Meanwhile, for extra income, you can drive, and you're actually a Lyft driver.
Yes, ma'am, I am.
And look, she even puts her promo code there so you can help her out.
Yes. So, yeah, if anybody's interested in driving Lyft, you can use my promo code, which is Adina, ADINA, 45763.
When I saw that, I thought you were joking around, like it was just, you know, a nice sign, but you're saying this is your reality.
Yes, this is my reality, and honestly, sometimes as a special education teacher, I don't even have time to do that part-time job that I need.
Well, we appreciate you coming and talking to us. Good luck. We hope that you guys get what you need this next school year.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Again, we told you that the organizers of the event said there's about 20,000 people here. The rally starts in about 15 minutes at 12:30. If you could look over that sea of red, there's a white tent there. That's where it's all going to take place. Now, just imagine when this is all over, all of these people have to head out. So it could be a little bit of traffic congestion. Let's check in with meteorologist Aaron Clanahan with more on that. Aaron.
You are definitely right, Angela. Later on today will likely be very chaotic downtown. Right now, there's definitely some light to moderate traffic in the area. We have some road Road closures still in place until 5 p.m., if not a little bit longer than that, just depending what takes place this afternoon. But Jones Street, Edenton Street, Morgan, and South Streets are still closed between Salisbury and Wilmington Streets. There's also a little bit of traffic on 401 as you head into downtown Raleigh, and then Fayetteville Street is blocked off as well, and that's between Morgan and Lenore Street. So you saw how many people were out there this afternoon. I suggest avoiding the area if you can, and I would also give yourselves plenty of extra time later on this evening for your evening commute if you are going to be taking I-40 anywhere near South Saunders Street. Bill.
All right, thanks, Aaron. We're also seeing a tremendous amount of traffic on Twitter as well. I want to go ahead and show you some of the tweets that have been popping up since even before the rally began this morning, starting with indivisible NC District 9. Today, we stand behind our hardworking and dedicated public school teachers, and they make their voices heard in Raleigh. Let's jump right here to Representative Ashton Clemens, who wrote, "Kindergarten teacher takes NCGA." Then a number of different organizations. Please stop by for a high five, snack, water, charge from your phone. We cannot wait to hear from you. And then we got another one real quick before I wrap here. You can see more links being posted by teachers like Taryn Stock showing that she was getting ready to head down to that rally earlier this morning. Tanaya?
All right, thank you, Bill. Again, if you are out there, tag us on your social media posts. We would love to see that.
You're watching continuing coverage of the Rally for Education on CBS 17.
Thousands of teachers from all across North Carolina are in Raleigh right now, rallying for higher pay and better funding for schools.
Now, we have brought you team coverage of today's Rally for Education all morning long, and that continues right now with CBS 17's Angela Taylor. Angela, you have been down there all morning. What's happening there now?
Yeah, I have been down here all morning. Now, the rally is expected to officially get underway at 12:30, which is right now. We know that Mark Jewell, the president of the North Carolina Association of Educators, will be the first one to speak, followed by Governor Roy Cooper. Now, organizers of this event tell us about 20,000 people are here. We know that's amongst the 33 school districts that closed across North Carolina. That includes 4 charter schools. Now, I want to bring in a very special teacher. This is Emily Richardson. She's actually a speech therapist. Emily, thank you for being here. Talk to me about the struggles you face, because you're not a teacher, you're still a part of the staff.
Correct. I mean, I'm still an educator. I work with over 55 students, and I'm here today because of those children, those students, my own children. I'm here for me, I'm here for you. You know, a strong public education system supports all of us.
Tell me the one thing that you would say is lacking at your school within your classroom.
I mean, there's so many things, there really are, but class size is so overlooked and it's so important. And we're just being told that there's not a lot that can be done about that right now. My 9-year-old daughter sat in a class with over 30 students in it.
30 students?
30 students as a 4th grader, and it only increases from there. And so that, you know, there are so many things that really need to be addressed.
And you're a speech therapist, so you definitely have a specialty here.
Right. I mean, and there are so many specialties as far as the school counselors, the school psychologists, the special area teachers, a 1st grade teacher that specializes in teaching those young 6-year-olds, you know, a high school chemistry teacher that specializes. Everyone has their own unique path. And there are a lot of decisions that are being made that make it look to the public eye like there are things that are helping teachers, such as writing in a bill that is going to get $400 for every classroom teacher. What's not advertised is that's going to K through 12 teachers only, not your school counselors, not your art teacher, not your speech therapist. Not your speech therapist. And then all these things that have traditionally been funded, such as toner for the copier, paper, all of those things, where is that going to happen?
Right. Well, we certainly appreciate you speaking with us. We appreciate your time, and best of luck getting what you guys need for the classroom.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, it sounds like they've started to speak on the stage. However, the official Mark Jewell hasn't taken the stage yet. So until that happens, let's check in with CBS 17's Russ Bowen, who's also at Halifax Mall with me this afternoon, just on a different side. Hey, Russ.
Hey there, Angela. Yeah, we're quite far away from where those speakers are, so we can actually hear the folks we're talking to, so it helps a little bit. Don't be deceived, though, by the green behind us, because there's a lot of red that way. I've got somebody in red right now with us. Tell me who you are, what you teach, and where you're from.
I'm Monica Hackett. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, and so are my coworkers, and I teach at Hornets Nest Elementary School, and I'm an art teacher.
All right, it's great to have you here. I hate to cut you short because you've got this great crew. Mark Jewell is starting to speak, so we're going to listen to him now.
Definitely me, Mark. Go, Mark!
Let's take a listen into Mark Jewell.
And I have the very proud honor of serving as the president of the state's largest public school organization, the North Carolina Association of Educators. But before we begin today, my folks, we would like to take a moment, as you know, of the tragedy that happened last night on our state university, the University of North Carolina in Charlotte. A loss of life and a violent act was committed last night, and we know that 2 people have lost their lives and about 4 folks are injured. So at this time, let's please take a moment of silence. I want to thank you for that. This incident is yet another example of the need for decision makers to take action to prevent dangerous weapons from reaching the hands of dangerous people. Please welcome our friend, your governor, Roy Cooper.
Hello, North Carolina Public Schools. I'm grateful to see you today. Kristen and I both are, and I know that my public school teacher mom is looking down on us and smiling today. I am here today to strongly support our public school educators and to work toward making sure our children have the very best public education in the country. But I also come today with a heavy heart and an additional message. The tragic shooting at UNC Charlotte last night leaves us deeply saddened, frustrated, and angry. I was in Charlotte on the campus last night, and I'm headed right back there after this event. I know that many of you are University of North Carolina Charlotte graduates. This university produces great teachers, and I'm telling you, it is a tough time there right now. This violence is all too common in our country. It can happen anywhere, and unfortunately, it often does. We are devastated that it has happened here. As educators, you know you often think about school safety when you walk into your schools, your classrooms, and your gymnasiums. We must work for a day when no student, no teacher, no parent is fearful for their safety at a school or anywhere else for that matter. I'm proud of the work we did when I was Attorney General and now Governor that helped our schools and law enforcement plan and train to respond to these violent events. Last night, we saw the results in action with swift, coordinated, brave response that saved lives, and I am so thankful for those law enforcement officers and first responders. But now, we need to put the same type of coordination into preventing these shootings in the first place. And telling legislators that school safety is vital. And that doesn't mean putting guns with teachers in the classroom. As educators, you do so much more than just teach math and reading and science. You boost your students' self-esteem. You comfort them in time of trouble. You instill in them a sense of purpose and direction. And you are often the first line of defense for crises big and small. Educators are key to strong, safe communities, and you deserve the support in the many roles that you play. That means significantly better pay for all teachers and principals, including our veteran teachers and support staff. It means more school nurses and counselors. It means modern, safe classrooms. And it means respecting your work and treating you like the professionals that you are.